lot of people.
All right. You good, Griffin?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Sir. Thank you for
You're welcome, brother.
having me up. Appreciate it, Rod. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Keon, if you want to ask a question, you got to turn on the camera. All right, let's go to our brother, Dr. Reggie. You on the call, brother?
Okay, great. Hey, Rod Hayes, we've spoken a few times. How you
Oh
doing?
yeah, I know you is, brother. I know you is.
All right. I'm not. I can only ask a question or two. So, the reason why Billy Carson got in trouble is because he was repeating things over and over and over again, particularly things like Christ wasn't crucified, right? And he got in trouble with a source, right? And listen, thanks for coming on this channel so we can vet exactly what you say. And I'm sure Sonetta has a bunch of questions so we could get specific. And we don't want one of those people like Huff coming on and ruining you, right? Or any of us, right? So we're going to have to be a little bit more specific, and we're going to have to mention some sources at some point. So my question is, you made a statement that the Egyptians, that what we call the Egyptians, those are the people of Africa in this particular Nile Valley area, which they call Tawi, right? The two lands. You made a correlation between those groups of people and the Sumer people, who we don't know a whole lot. We only know it through Babylonian and Akkadian sources. So I just, my question, because I don't want to disturb anything, I want Sonetta to ask his questions, right? Hopefully he has questions. But you have to tell me, right, since you brought in ancient Egypt, right, you're going to have to tell me that the ancient Egyptians or those people identify themselves with gods or with sacred animals, right? And is that similar at all to the paradigm that, out of Africa? Because in my research, they thought differently. They didn't talk about sky gods. They talked about natural elements in Africa, sacred animals or venerated animals in nature, things that they could see, hear, and feel, right? And it has no correlation, and there's no recorded evidence that they ever met the Sumerians or the people that followed until a much, much later period. So their thinking was already developed. So my question is, you're going to have to can you spend a few minutes and tell us what you believe the ancient people of Africa believed, and show me that it's the same that the people out of Africa that what they believed, and to make a correlation. So I'll stop and I'll listen. I won't interfere. I just want you to talk to me about Africa, which is the birthplace of humanity, right? So we have more than 100,000 years of what we call pre-civilization in Africa. And then we have these other groups of people out of Africa in their thoughts. So tell me what you know about what the people of Africa in the Nile Valley that we call ancient Egypt believed. And I'll mute my mic and I'll turn off my screen and listen.
Well, first of all, the Egyptians' beliefs evolved over a long period of time, right? America's only 200 years old. When we look at the evolution of the ideologies in America, then we should understand the evolution of the ideologies that took place in Kim. The sacred animals is the totem system, right? Then you have the ones who was from the royal families, which was your hierarchy. But they have pre-dynastic civilizations that they don't talk about that go back even further, right? So I didn't make a correlation. Sarnetta asked me a question about the relation between the Egyptians and the Sumerians. And I told him I believe that based on what Tahuti say in the Emerald Tablets, or what Thoth say in the Emerald Tablets, that they went over there and set up an observatory to keep an eye on the laboratory experiments and different things that was going on in Sumer that evolved into Babylon and Akkadian and all of that stuff. So they got different beliefs. Even in Africa, from tribe to tribe, you got different belief systems. You got different tribal structures and setups of how the rulership is passed and how the wealth is passed. But you have a common undertone in Africa called the Holy Drama. We knew it as the Syrian resurrection story. This story is told by the Dogon and by several different Bantu tribes that's not in Kemet, that's in Western and Southwestern Africa, right? So the belief systems vary around the world throughout history, and what they perceiving is how they telling a story. Everybody not telling the same story. They telling the story that they see. 10 people can be at a murder scene and they all gonna tell the same story. The only thing they gonna agree on is the murder.
All right. Let me move on to the next brother. First, let me ask you, can you explain more about the connection between the Anna, Isis, and the Immaculate Conception story?
Right. That's the story of Heru and Kemet. Right. And this is also what they call the Inanna story in what we call the Middle East. Right. But the Anunnaki story is kind of different from the Egyptian story. They're not the same. But the Egyptian story is the go-to for the Immaculate Conception because it's one of the most comprehensive descriptions of how she was able to produce Heru from the seed of Osiris when he was no longer physically present. Right. And there's also other Immaculate Conception stories is written by, I think my man name was Kersey Graves, 16 Crucified Saviors. Right. So it's not an original story, but the most comprehensive that goes into it. And it's also part of the Holy Drama.
Okay. Let me get Dizzelli, let's get it, man. Let's go. And I got in the building next.
Hey, Saw, and greetings to Rod Hayes. Firstly, I want to say, Saw, I'm definitely going to need a show to give the House of Consciousness a treat on this topic.
Let's
but
do it.
I want to do it in how it relates to us in a conventional manner, things that are happening now. This is going to be quite a scary show. We can probably call it like a Don horror show. But yeah, I'm definitely going to want to link up with you so that I can get that out to the people so they can start worrying about whether Jesus wore briefs or boxers. But the question that I want to ask the brother Rod Hayes, and I said greetings to him, I want to ask him, with the information that you're bringing forth concerning the Anunnaki, have you ever considered how it affects the history of, let's say, humanity as far as religion goes? So if we're following you and you are bringing information that a group of beings, came to this planet in the in ancient times, have you ever put it together that these beings are probably responsible for many things that many people follow? You know, we used to wonder why people had to make sacrifices to God or whomever, sacrifices of food. And you would be wondering, what does God want with food? What does God want a roasted calf for? That's just something to darn think about. But Mr. Rod Hayes, have you ever considered these things is my question. And can you elaborate on them just a little bit for us? Thank you.
I absolutely consider these things, because the only way you will know is you have to find what's called the fingerprints of the author. That means that most of the stuff we believe, we really believe in it because somebody told it to us. We ain't believing it because we know it. That's like 90% of what we believe. The stuff we know, only thing we know is what we've experienced in real time in our particular life, and everything else is secondhand information. That's why I don't do debates, because I'm going to be arguing, no matter whose source I use, I'm going to be arguing secondhand information, right? So I can give resources, I can give sources of information, but I rely more on my experience than I do on my my learning, because I know that most of the stuff that's been fed to us has been fed to us to control us. That go back to whether it's the Sumerian tablets or the writings in the hieroglyphics in Kemet or the Bible, the Quran, all of this stuff is control measures, right? You got to remember, we looking at right now a current Earth population of roughly 8.4 billion people, right? And the number is fluctuating based on interference by governments to reduce populations by chemical controls, which comes from, it's about making them consumer, the poison winds and stuff of this nature. So a lot of what we believe today can be traced back to all of the ancient groups, but we only get pieces of it because the people that was writing, you gotta remember, in the year 1800, it was probably a couple thousand literate people on the planet. But here we is in 2024 with thousands of literate people, millions of literate people now, and we all relying on what the little handful of people wrote back then. Even if you go back to the hieroglyphs, only certain priests knew how to, was trained in the proper writing of the hieroglyphs on the walls. It's the same in Sumer. Only certain priests was the ones responsible to record the record. So how do you know what they recorded? They didn't record everything, just like our historians don't record everything. Nobody can record everything unless we have a continuous three-dimensional panoramic film running while we living. Otherwise, it's stuff that happened in your life you don't even remember until somebody say, you remember that time? And then you're like, oh yeah, I remember. But all of that affects belief systems and how we perceive the world. And all of those documents that the information is being traced back, because we're trying to find the source that we get the most information from. And once we get trace it back to a central source, then we'll know who told it to us. Right. And sometimes we don't come back to a source. We come back to, this book is attributed to this author, and we don't even know if the author lived. Just like your biblical Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All of those at the beginning and the introduction, they tell you this book is attributed to. That means they don't know if they wrote it or not, but this is who they're going to get a credit to.
All right. All right. Mandinka Mali, you are on the call.
All right. Peace and blessings, man, for old times.
Go ahead, brother.
Peace to the panel. Let me get straight to the question then. Good Lord.
Brother.
All right, now,
Yeah, go in.
I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know. Anyway, peace and blessings to the panel, man. Shout out to my cousin. Hey, Rod Hayes. That's one of my cousins from. Hey, he's from Jackson, Mississippi. So he know where his people come from. You know, this is why I understand why he don't get the Africa connection. That's for another time in another place. Our people come from Mali, Mandinka, See, you trying to do some more other stuff. I heard you talking about, but that's for another time and another day, sir. You know, me and Cuz are gonna have to have a one-on-one consultation about this. Which one of the Hayes is telling the truth? You hear me? That's gonna be the battle. Because hey, I'm fighting for my people's ancestry, and, you know, and their history on the plantation. He talking about they already here. No, I traced them back, coming over here on ships, slave dockets, what tribe, everything. So me last time you said, cousin, we both from the same, our people both from the same plantation in Jackson, Mississippi. So you're messing up the family history, but we're gonna talk about that later. Now, hey, cousin,
you gotta remember my history come on two sides of the family. Now, my mama from Macomb, Mississippi.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it. But anyway, hold up. I got my war chief peeking around. Peace out to 904 in the building, sign on the TV. Now, cousin, about 3-4 years ago, you know, I came on here with this type of information. I was talking about the Pyramid Wars, Sumerian tablets, Emerald tablets. They laughed me off the goddamn stage. Jabari and Sarnetta laughed me off the stage. See, I was ahead of my time. They weren't ready for this type of deep information. I'm glad one of my family members bringing it out. You know what I'm saying? So can you go into like, see, really the Sumerian and Egyptian history is connected, ladies and gentlemen. This Giza Plateau was where the Pyramid Wars took place. See the pyramid. That's a space. That's a space. Okay, man. Goddamn. All right, because I'll bring it out, man.
One teacher tonight. Ask the question.
Okay, well, I'm just giving my cousins flowers, man. But you know, as far as Aboriginal stuff, and I say our people came here. That's where the road stopped. Which one of the Hazes is telling the truth? Well, anyway,
it could be possible we both telling the truth.
It could be. Hey, family. So, do you believe that the Anunnaki came down and you know, they were here fight. They were here mining gold, right, for Anu, and then they got tired of doing the work, so gene splice these Homo erectus, and here you have your Homo sapiens. That is the history. But go ahead.
That's the Sumerian story of the creation of Lulu Amalu, the primitive workers of the earth. Right. But I still believe we was already here. I still believe we was already here, because even if you use that as like a ground zero of their breeding program, Lulu Amalu. Lulu Amalu.
Okay.
And they just call them the Lulus for short.
Yeah.
But
let me Sana, can I share my screen to help?
No, because we're just asking questions. I said that to everybody, Mandinka. There's only one teacher here tonight, brother. I want to just ask questions.
Oh, okay. This is gonna help with his bill.
You can do your own show. Cool. All right. So let me go on.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let me move on.
Well, Lisa,
hey,
let me. All right. Lisa's.
Yeah. Let me ask Rod Hayes the question. Are the Kemetic stories?
So he didn't answer my question. But he didn't answer my question. Sorry,
go ahead.
He didn't answer the question.
All right.
You state the question again, brother.
So what's the? Okay. You know, doing my studies of some of this information, me and Raphael and a couple of other brothers that deal with this type of information. Like I say, during the Anunnaki, they were sent down by Anu. You know, Anu's the top guy. He's the top creator. Then he sent them down to mine for gold, because they want to take gold back to their atmosphere, because their atmosphere is messed up, and the gold helps replenish their atmosphere. This is why they came here, right? So Anu sent all the other guys down, because Anu the top guy sent all these guys down here to mine for gold. They got tired of doing that, so they spliced their DNA into Homo erectus, and that's how you get the Homo sapiens. This is what they used to teach. They also
actually it's Homo sapiens, which is a different genetic stock than Homo sapien. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So in the evolutionary story, they got what they call the missing links. The missing links are unexplained jumps in the evolutionary process based on the fossil record. First of all, we know they fabricated a lot of fossils and they got caught. We know that.
Then Lucy, yeah.
Right. So we don't take everything they say about fossil finds to be the 100%, but the missing link is more than just the fossil finds.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It is the generic explanation of why did the Neanderthal become Homo erectus? What happened? What made him stand upright? Right. And what made Homo erectus become Homo sapien? Right. These is that they call the missing links. What made the Homo sapien become Cro-Magnon, then Homo sapien sapien? So the explanation that's commonly given is that this betrays the infiltration into the gene pool by foreign genetic manipulation of an outside source. Right. So there is a lot of discussion about those missing links still, because they can't put it together until this Anunnaki doctrine came out. When the Anunnaki literature hit, then what got Zechariah and Eric Von Däniken's attention was, this is a clear explanation of the missing links. The sudden jumps in the process of evolution. Right? Because they know that the genome only transforms under slow, gradual change or a sudden change that's normally triggered by a radioactive exposure of UV rays.
Hey, hold on, cuz. Don't you gotta give them baby food over here. Some of these guys, hey, when I brought it out 5 years ago, they wasn't ready for it. They laughed me off the goddamn on stage. You see what I'm saying? But that's okay, son. My cousin here to straighten it out. The only disagreement I got with is we're gonna have a battle of the hazes. Who telling the real plantation story?
All right. Let me ask you the question, brother Rod.
Go ahead.
The
women.
Damn, what I was gonna ask again.
Ask about the women.
Are the Kemetic stories real? Or would you say this is all just a myth? And can we live in these stories? Can we live out? Can they do good for us in this day and time? The stories of the ancient Kemetic people.
It depends on it's depend on anything you use. It depends on how you use it, what you can get from it. Right. If you want to get something from the teachings of Kemet, a good place to start is Muwatta Ashby of this. He out in Florida, and he's the Egyptian yoga teacher, but he's also an Egyptian historian.
I know who he is.
Right. So that's a good start. Like, for instance, how do you apply what they was teaching in ancient times to your modern day life? That's not an easy task. And sometimes we need help because we don't really understand a lot of the stories that they telling, because they paint these pictures with totem animals, but we thinking that they talking about people instead of energy. They talking about the energy of the totem, right? Some of them are composites, like Tawaret got the alligator spine, the hippopotamus body, the woman's mammary gland, human hands, and the hippopotamus head, but she's carrying the cleaver. Right? That's a whole bunch of information packed in one picture. Right? So the stories is as real as your mind make them, because your mind is what determines what's real and what's not. It's like Dr. Delbert Blair once said, nothing is truth until you decide what truth is. You have to decide for yourself what your truth is. And then you have to live your life according to that truth. And sometimes it might require you to study something that you wouldn't normally study. Like, I didn't know why am I studying forensic profiling? I didn't know why I was studying that, but it makes perfect sense in retrospect, because now when a person is doing stuff, I'm watching the character and it's fitting out a character, somebody else is involved. Right? That's from studying forensic profiling. It becomes so obvious that it's like It's like a green thumb on a red hand. You can see it. It sticks out. But if you don't study that type of information, you won't never use that type of information in your critical analysis of what you're dealing with.
Okay. What role did Thor play in the Anunnaki conflicts? And
you say Thor?
Yes. What role did Thor play in the Anunnaki conflicts, and how does he relate to characters in other mythological stories?
So, first of all, Thor is a Greek story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a European story. It's not a Sumerian story, right?
But they the Nephilims. They Nephilims.
Right. So
Hercules, Gilgamesh, Samson, Goliath. Hercules is a Greek mythology, and it's sometimes associated with
Viking story.
What I'm saying, Elder, though, those are the Nephilim.
Okay, so
they mixed in with, that's part of the answer, son. They were Nephilims.
Right. All right. So let me.
You're right. You're right with Thor.
Right. So let me ask you this one, then, Rod. Let me switch it up. How did the Anunnaki wars impact human development and civilization?
Because they got what's called the Scrolls of Destiny, which they call the 10 Scrolls of Buddhist Wisdom, which is how to run a massive operation like Earth as a company. How to hold on to leadership, manage resources, and allocate resources in order for you to affect people's lives. The concept of sociology, we think it's only a couple hundred years old, but it's ancient. Sociology deals with the study of groups. And in sociology, by studying the group, you know how to put what's called triggers in there or antagonists to steer the group in the direction you want them to go. Right? And all of the information is geared toward the control of Earth and the people of Earth. Because very few of us know, very few of us is aware of the varying different God stories from around the earth is all the same story rewritten to fit the local culture. And when they rewrite it to fit the local culture, it changes the expression of what's being done by the so-called gods.
All right. All right. I'm gonna get to you guests in a minute. What is the significance of gold to the Anunnaki, and how does it relate to human consciousness?
So one of the names of them is the Shining Ones, and another name they call them the Golden Ones. And the gold in its monoatomic form, or as they call it in Kemet, couscous, is been used by Anunnaki and Earth priests for thousands of years, but they also found, according to the tablets, that this gold can be used to rebuild the atmosphere of Nibiru because it was being depleted. In other words, they had a hole in the ozone layer. So to patch the hole in the ozone layer, they needed massive amounts of gold that could be reduced to the monoatomic form and put into the atmosphere.
Okay. Let me get on over to Nazarene.
For that type of, I brought that out 5 years ago, cuz.
Let me get to Nazarene Essence. What's up, brother?
That scenes. Peace, Sock.
Peace. That scenes. Go ahead.
Peace, brother.
Peace. Hey, Rod, Chief Pontiac. I want to salute you, man, and give you your flowers and just let you know I be checking you out, man. And I
appreciate it, brother.
I appreciate you. Now, my question is this: were the Anunnaki?
What up, Nazarene?
Shalom, Maki.
Keep speaking out of turn, bro.
Was the Anunnaki black gods or aliens?
Good question. Good question. I like that.
Well, depending on what you mean by black god and alien, because a rock that comes from outer space is an alien or extraterrestrial. So it mean what you mean by black guys. We have this this understanding that everybody is heavily melanated throughout the cosmos, which is not true. But the heavily melanated ones throughout the cosmos appears to be the ones who's been involved in skywalking or interstellar travel for the longest period of time. And that their contact with other civilizations has advanced those civilizations to become skywalkers, whether they melanated or less melanated in a skin tone, right? So on Earth, we have all the color spectrum of humans in our genome on Earth. So we would suspect that if we have any genetic ties to the ones they call the black guys, that they would have the same genetic trait for skin pigmentation depending on where they was at. And they probably had more conscious control on who to give massive amounts of melanin to and who to reduce it on in order for the environment they was adapting to.
All right.
Cool. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go on to my my big brother Apostle. You got any more questions, Apostle? Are you good?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
I wanted to ask him, is it about melanin, aliens and gods and stuff? What do you know about well, what's this? These blonde.
You talking about the Nordic races of extraterrestrials?
Right, the Nordics.
Yeah, some of them are Arcturian, some of them are Pleiadian.
Right.
And they got a couple of more lesser star systems that they inhabited.
You heard about the tall whites and
yeah. Then you have like the Procyon have the fullest color spectrum in they community, from pale face to almost imperceivable in the darkness of the sky black.
Right. You know, this thing they call sleep. Where you can't move in your sleep, you're conscious.
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. I used to get it when I was young. My sons get it now. Eventually, I grew out of it. I don't know, somewhere in my 50s, 40s and 50s, I stopped having it. But when I was 17, I initially wanted to experience, I usually wake myself up, but I wanted to experience the full effect of it. And I tell you, man, I thought I saw what could be determined as a shiny one. I saw a form of a being that literally glittered, and it came to me. Scared the hell out of me, and I forced myself to wake up. I never did that again. But that is an experience that I experienced once. And it puts me in mind of where they talk about the gleaming ones or the shiny ones. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah. And when you see them in the dream state, you normally looking at them in what's called the whole light form, meaning the light body, not their physical body. Most of us call the light body spirit or soul, right? But we keep believing that our body is who we is, and that we not using our body to express who we is. So we have access to information that's non-local. We can see things with the mind that the body, when you around, you can't see it. right? In the 3D form, you can't see but 1% of the light spectrum. That means 99% of the light spectrum. There's something going on over there, but you can't see it.
Right.
Right. And when you in the sleep state, you in fourth dimensional mind matrix. You can see more because you're using more of the mind in that state than you could if you was awake in your 3D body.
Exactly.
Right. So the psychic abilities is the higher senses of the spiritual self to perceive additional information that's not available by looking with the eyes, listening with the ears, smelling with the nose, or tasting with the tongue. But your higher senses can use your lower senses to translate the information for you if you understand how you talk to your higher self.
True that.
All right. Okay. Okay. Moving right along. Can you elaborate on the concept of Earth as a free will universe versus the Anunnaki restricted will universe?
In a restricted will universe, it's going to make it easier to understand the free will universe. In the restricted will universe, everybody had to follow what the rulers say, no matter what it is. Period. In the free will universe, you have the right to disassociate from anything that doesn't agree with who you are as a person. Right? So a person might come up and he might be wearing a jalabia and a turban and he want to tell you about Islam. I don't want to hear about Islam. Right? Or it might be a dude knocking on your door from Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints coming to propagate the church. I don't want to hear about what you got to say. Right? That's not my paradigm. I don't accept that paradigm. You can do that in the free will universe. In a restricted will universe, the ones with the authority is clearly identified and you got to do what they say. So here,
oh, go ahead, brother.
So here under free will, you have the right to plot your life out if you understand how to do it and follow the steps to make your best life. Right. But in a restricted will universe, it's like being in a permanent caste system. You only do what the leader tell you and you don't do nothing else.
But that can vary, right? Not just universally, but from country to country.
It can also, like in India, they have a caste system that's firmly fixed.
Right.
All right. Hold on, Apostle. I wanted to finish asking this question too.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted clarity on that.
When we talk about the Anunnakis, every time I look up the Anunnaki, it's always looking like a European man. The Anunnaki look European. Where's the Anunnaki women? How come we never talk about the women? Because if it was Anunnaki men who were giants, what about the women? Were they giants as well?
They talk about a lot of women in the tablets. They talk about a rich gal. They talk about Inanna. They talk about Ninti, Mamie. So they talk about them, but we so patriarchally oriented that we don't hear the female name when we talk about other stuff that's promoting the female gender. If it's propping up the feminine, the patriarchal, because part of the war is patriarchal over matriarchy. To subjugate the natural matriarchy out of Earth. The only way they can turn Earth into a restricted will universe is to win it by military conquest, or by all of the people on the planet, or the majority agreeing to go along with their restricted will dogma. Most of us don't want that stuff. Even the ones of us that don't agree with Rod Hayes, because you got a right not to agree. And anybody tell you got to agree with everything they say is trying to control you to your detriment, but they benefit. So,
go ahead.
Yeah.
The chief scientist was a female, wasn't she?
One of them.
Yeah. Insecure, or I know it's Enil's sister.
That was a Richka gal.
Yeah.
She was the one. She was the one who first successfully carried the hybrid between Anunnaki and the Homo species that created us. She had physically carried that fetus, according to the story.
Yeah, he right.
Yeah,
that's what it say in the story. But they said that was Inanna that carried the baby, and she said, "Look, I have gave birth to the first man."
Right. Right.
If you're talking that side, you're on mute unless you're on the phone.
Yeah, I got you. How does the story of Abraham in the Bible relate to the Anunnaki? See, I want to keep it on the Anunnaki because that's what this is about. That's
right.
what the title is. So I wanna get everything out of you that I could find out and learn about the Anunnaki. Now,
Abraham's point of origin becomes significant to the Anunnaki story because Abraham originated from Ur the Chaldees, right? And Ur the Chaldees is also an ancient city from the area of Babylon, Sumer, and Acadia. It's from that same geography. But Abraham, the name Abraham, Ab means heart in Kemet. Ra means the supreme deity. And Kim is Kim, which means the melanin or the black dot. So that they using an acronym to conceal something. Right. So his name went from Ab Ram, right, the heart of Ram, to the heart of Ra, the black god Kim. So
yes,
that was the Chaldean connection is where you would see the closest connection to Abraham and Sumer.
Can you explain more about the earthborn humans and their relationship to the stars?
We walk in stardust, right? Our spirit body is governed by one of them stars in the sky. Normally, in that little area where your zodiac sign is where your star is in the sky. The light from that star is expressed through your genome in communication with the earth and the sun. Right? So when your stardust form your spirit body, you need a physical vessel to inhabit. Right? So your light body begin to look for a station to tune into, which we call it a genome code, a series of markers on the DNA that allows this particular light body to access this physical form.
All right, let me go to Neil Spite real quick. Neil Spite, man, do you have a question, brother?
Actually, I wanted to say peace to you, brother, Chief Pontiac. How you doing today?
Peace, brother. How you doing? I'm doing pretty fair for a square.
Right. So I had a 2-question and 1 statement.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Bro.
Okay. The first statement is, I'm from Detroit, and Chief Pontiac was a chief in Detroit, and it was a story about that's where you get the Pontiac car and all that. But it was a story about him that I believe he was fighting with the French because Detroit originally was French, Detroit, and I think they was fighting against the English, and they were sitting at a powwow, whatever, eating. And whoever was the French or the English, they were like, "Oh, this is so good. What is this?" And Chief Pontiac says, "You're British or your English brother." So he a cold piece, though. Man, hey, but that was
Big
my
Mama say
statement on.
turnabout fair play.
Huh?
Big Mama say turnabout is fair play.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I ain't mad at him. Yeah, hey, but listen, let me say on my my question to you was, have you, and if you have, can you give us some information on which doctors call the junk DNA within a human's body. That DNA there, which would be like an extraterrestrial, they don't understand, like you say, the stardust, you just piggybacking off that. Would you say that the junk DNA they don't understand is the actual conscious level of something that you can tap into through like Ra'u Nefer Ahmed's meditations or Muada Ashby?
Your junk DNA is the DNA that was not firing codons. This was chemically blocked. It's not junk.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what the hell is junk DNA?
They call it that, but it's not. Yeah, go ahead.
It's DNA that's not activated. It's not active.
Right. And once you can activate that DNA though, but they don't want you to know how to activate it. You have something called Kriya yoga that'll activate it. Egyptian yoga, Muwada Ashby, he know how to activate it. You got different secret societies that teach certain individuals that they know how to they can control them. They teach them how to activate it so that they can exploit their gifts. Right? You got to remember, most of the secret societies is nothing more than handlers of people who don't know who they are, to try to prevent them from discovering who they are, but express all of their greatness from within so that somebody else outside of them can control it, which is a concept adopted from restricted will universe.
And my last question to you was, do you think there's some deep wisdom in the Meretic undeciphered script, the Meretic from Meroe?
It's wisdom in anything you read. But a lot of times the wisdom is not in the written, it's in the error. The wisdom come in the error as a Freudian slip of a piece of truth that they wasn't supposed to say.
Hopefully one day we can decipher that script. I yield the mic.
All right.
Right. Let me go on over here, brother Dizel. You got any more questions?
Yeah. I want to fire it up just a little bit because that my first question that I asked him, he was kind of politically correct on it. So let me frame it differently. You know. So when it comes to people who follow certain faiths and certain gods, is it that, you know, putting it together with the information that you're bringing concerning the Anunnaki, is it not probable that a Muslim or a Christian or Hebrew Israelite, they're not worshiping the actual Most High, the Supreme Being, that they're more likely worshiping one of these Anunnaki beings? Because according to the stories, the Anunnaki chopped up the earth, and different ones, you know, own different sectors. Would that not line up better with why, you know, certain people thought that their God told them to go and conquer these people, take that land? Does that not sound like something that a being would want you to do? Not God, but a being that's more advanced than us, probably older than us, but still has personality traits similar to us. Does that not line up better with what we have a lot of conversations on, and when we find contradictions in the Bible, etc.? Can it be that all of this come from Anunnaki beings?
It's totally possible, because the reason why I say that is it is known from studying the genome that we have something called a worship gene. And the worship gene is the gene that make you look outside yourself for your source of validation of divinity. The real God, you can only get to the real God by going within yourself, because you are directly hardwired through your brainstem, through what's called reticular formation, black dot, as Dr. Richard Kling described it, in the base of the skull, that is tied directly to source, right? The intermediary between you and source is your higher frequency self. Your lower frequency self is the one that roam the earth and think it know everything, while your higher frequency self is trying to reveal the truth to your lower self, but you too busy looking for all of the validation from what we call lesser gods, or man-made gods, or gods that's men who made themselves into deified images. Right. So you're not far off, brother.
So, all right, that's what I was wanting to hear. So, my brothers and sisters, when we have these conversations, and when Saw get you in a corner and you can't answer certain things about why God wanted you to go break these people or kill these people, and you have to fall back on, well, God can do what he wants. Would it not be more logical to just realize that, dang, I was worshiping a lesser God, a simple being that's more advanced than I am, but it's not the overall Most High. Thank you, Brother Rod
The
Hayes.
creator of all is what we call it.
If it's true,
right.
my God would not want me to rape nobody.
All right, Apostle. All right, Apostle.
Come on, man, with that nonsense.
Brother Rod, does Nibiru exist? And what scholars besides Zechariah Extension believe in the planet Nibiru?
Nibiru is talked about in science as the 10th planet. It's called the Rilo 7. It got other names that the scientists gave it that's not Nibiru.
The blue planet. Right.
Yep. So when we talk about it now as Nibiru, yep, that's what Nibiru means, planet of the crossing. But when we call it the Nibiru, modern scientists have other names for it. So we believe that Zechariah Extension, Eric Von Daniken, Malachi York was heretics when they talked about it, but they're still in their science books. But they just don't call it by the name Nibiru.
They call it Planet X. They still looking for it, trying to figure out where is that.
I remember Steve Coakley was the first one I heard talk about Nibiru. How about you, Rod?
The first thing, I had a book called Gods, Clouds, and Extraterrestrials. The first place I read about them.
Oh, okay.
It's in the Bible. It's called Wormwood.
And being that you jumped out the window, Apostle, you got to stop this, man, when I'm up here, man, talking about God don't want you to grape nobody.
He don't.
Yes, he do. It's in your Bible, brother. In war, when you're in war, right? That's what I used to say. Hold up, stop for 1 minute. Stop for 1 minute. You say it's all right when you are in war. Remember, we've been saying this for damn near a whole year, and y'all excuse was, oh, well, we are in war. So if you capture your enemy and then you see a beautiful woman amongst them, you could take them home and lock them down for 30 days. Be quiet, let me finish. You can lock them down for 30 days and you can go into them after 30 days. Brother, that is first kidnapping when you take them from where they was at to your place. That is kidnapping in today's world. And then when you go inside of them after you have killed her mother and her father, she have not welcomed you into her, brother. She's only afraid because she know she will be killed if you don't, she don't allow you. So yes, God, according to the Bible, does let the Israelites grape them. Well, let me finish. Does the Israelites, they do let the Israelites grape them. And I know it hurts. I know you're upset about it. So you can go ahead and lie on the scriptures all you want. I can pull it up and show it to you.
Yeah, but nowhere in that scripture does it says that the person that saw the damsel and found her to be attractive is the same one that killed her parents. It don't say that's the person. It says her parents died in battle.
Incorrect.
She has nobody. It does. It's not no incorrect.
Incorrect. I dare you to pull it up. I dare you
to pull it up.
Yeah.
You pull it up.
I dare you to pull it up.
It does not say
incorrect. It does.
It does not say that the person that finds the beautiful woman is the one that killed her mother and killed her father. It does not say that he forced himself on her.
Okay, let me
not say. It says, and you desire her as a wife. You do not rape a wife.
Okay, all right. Apostle. Listen to me, being that you jumping out the window. Can that woman who have been taken from her household, can she refuse him going into her? Yes or no? Yeah. Can she say no? See, damn, you can't even keep it real, man.
He can say no.
On, brother.
I'm
you
not
can't
saying
even keep it real, brother.
He's going to listen to her.
You can't even keep it real, man.
But she can say no.
No, she can't.
She can.
All right. Let me move on. Is she, hold on, watch this. Is she a prisoner of war, Apostle?
She's a prisoner of war.
Can a slave say no? Hold on, stop answering me. Can a slave say no to her, to the man who's trying to come on to her and rape her?
She can say no. It don't mean he's going to listen. She
All
can
right,
say
so
no.
that mean is what? It's called what? If he take it, what is it called?
If you take it, that don't say you are.
You can't even say it, brother. Look
She's
at
accepting it.
I'm gonna move on.
She
Let me go.
is accepting it.
Okay. No, she's not. Let me move on.
Now, according to
I bet you won't pull it up though. I guarantee you won't pull that up. It's in the book of Deuteronomy. 10.
I can't pull it up.
Yeah, I know. Let me go on over to Nepal Shaddai. Nepal, I know she got questions for you, brother, bro. Nepal, you got the floor.
Right. Thank you, Senator. Peace to everybody in the panel. Peace to the chat and, of course, to the guest, Rod Hayes. I wanted to ask if you would speak a bit about the Igigi in the ancient text, the actual people called the Igigi, and I also wanted to see if you agree or what your take is on the Bible saying that Abraham is from Ur, where we know the this text about the Anunnaki, the Sumerian text actually originated. So those two questions. First, if you could let us speak on the Igigi, and if you think they're still around even, and then like I said, what do you think about the story of Abraham coming from Ur, coinciding with the origin of the text?
I don't know how long you've been here, but I just answered that question for Sai when he asked me about Abraham in the Bible, when I was telling him that Abraham came from Ur of the Chaldees, where those texts was written. So I answered that one already.
Okay, great. So the Igigi, what do you really? I specifically want to hear you. I know it's really a broad question, but let me narrow it down. I want to hear your take on the distinction between the Anunnaki, the Igigi, and then of course what they would say is like the slave human race. Are they still around? Have you already touched on that? I just got in. And if so, where would we identify, especially the Igigi I'm interested in? We talk about the Anunnaki and the human so much, but I don't hear a lot of people go into the discussion about the Igigi.
So the story of the Igigi and they coming to Earth is they coming to the wedding of Murdoch. And when they got here and it seemed that the Anunnaki was taking human wives, they made a pact to basically bomb the wedding and take the women that they wanted. This is when in the Bible, when it's saying the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they was fair, and then they took all that they chose. That's the story of Semyaza and the pact that he's making with the other Igigi that came down with him. They were supposed to be, according to the legend, a group of Anunnaki that was resigned to labor on Mars, while there was another contingent that was laboring on Earth. Then the ones that was laboring on Mars was invited to Earth for the purpose of the wedding of Marduk, and then it was there that they went rogue and began to proliferate. And they say in giants was born in those days, men of renown, men of valor. That's what they're talking about. They also call the Igigi the Watchers, because when they on Earth, they don't normally do anything other than observe. They don't get involved in what we call human affairs, other than having an affair with a human. Do a rape campaign.
You know, that's wait, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're saying that they are, so you're saying they're malevolent, they're not good, they're bad, or?
I think they like people. You got good and bad in them. But it's just that the thing that they did to stick out made them look horrible. But they wasn't doing nothing no different than the rest of the Anunnaki who seen a woman. Like they say, Iki had children by children of children of his own. Right? So when you're looking at these stories,
a lot of humans, women.
So when you're looking at these stories, they telling you what the ones that's supposed to be righteous is doing, and then the ones that didn't want to obey the ones that were so-called righteous decided to do what they wanted to do instead instead of doing what they was told to do.
So would you say when we talk about the Council of 12, which is similar to a lot of that particular story from Sumer, the Sumerian story, would you say that Council of 12 is similar to what we say in the Bible, like the Elohim? Like, are the Council of 12, which they say they're the Anunnaki, right? I'm trying to really, in my research and what I study, Mr. Hayes, is that there's so many, like, it's conflated with, there's the Igigi story conflated with the Anunnaki story, and then it goes into the Bible, like the creation story of the Bible called the Elohim. We would think, okay, that matches the Anunnaki, but then there are also parts of that creation story in the Bible that seems like it's the Igigi, which is called the fallen, you know, like the story you said about the Enoch. So how do you decipher that? Like, you particularly, when you're talking to somebody who says, well, show me this in the Bible, how do you separate Anunnaki, Igigi, Elohim? Like, how do you do that?
Well, really, the Bible is like potpourri. It's an admixture of Middle Eastern and Egyptian texts put together in Europe to control people. You got to go back to what Constantine said when he created the church, what he was doing. Right? Not what they tell you the church for, what the person that commissioned the church to be created, right, said about why he was creating the church. There's two different paradigms, right? You can't always clearly identify the difference between a Nephilim, fallen one, and a Elohim or Beno Elohim, children of Elohim. You can't always distinguish them in the Bible because even the word God in the Bible is a whole bunch of different words, right? It's not one word throughout the whole Bible that translated as God. They translate different words in different places to be God or Lord according to the narrative they pushing. So you can't always use the Bible as a cohesive reference. One of the things about the Bible is they tell us to worry about the devil. Tell me who the devil killed in the Bible, and I'll wait. And then I can tell you a whole bunch of people that God killed, and I can tell you where he lied at too, because he told Abraham if he found one righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, he wouldn't destroy it. What did he do? They found Lot there, told him to leave, and blew it all up. Right? That's a bald-faced lie.
Five.
Okay.
Righteous. It wasn't five.
But he got down to one.
No, he came down to 5. Started at 50, came down to 5, not 1.
Okay. Who all left? How many people left with Lot when he left Sodom and Gomorrah?
5, but the wife was not righteous. She looked back, so it was only 4.
Now you're trying to justify the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah.
I'm trying to tell you the truth.
He found 5 people.
No, but 1 looked back, so it was only 4.
So the only thing he did wrong was look back.
Actually, it was 3. Of the 4, 1 looked back. It was Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters. That was it. It came from 50 to 5.
So, okay, I'm gonna let you have that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you have that, but you still can't justify the lie he told Adam when he say, the day you eat from that fruit, you're gonna die that day. Because the church gonna tell you, oh, the essence, all of the essence in Adam died. No, that's a bald-faced lie. Adam was still living and they had kids, so that means that he got lied to.
Adam died that day. To be separated from God, there's 2 deaths in the Bible. There's the physical death.
I know the dogma. I know the dogma.
Revelations chapter 20 brings it out about the second death, of which there's no power over, no Holy Ghost power to deliver from the second death.
Okay. Yeah. He still lied to him because he didn't die that day.
He died that day. He became separate from the source.
He wouldn't have had no children if he'd have died that day, because all his children was after that day.
Not physically, he died spiritually that
It
day.
don't say that. The book don't say if you eat from the tree that day you will spiritually die. It don't say that. It say you gonna die the day you eat from that tree.
Thank you, brother.
The
I
book
see Rod
does
be
not
watching that,
say
man.
that,
Thank you, Rod.
but the book
Thank you, brother.
implies it.
No,
in
it don't.
other
No, it
precepts.
don't. What implies
The
it is
book
you. Y'all
implies
always
it
changing the
in
damn
other
narrative, man.
precepts. Like I say, let the Bible interpret
Rod is right,
itself.
brother. Rod is right.
Well,
Rod
what
is
about this? I just want to interject this. If we Okay, so if we take the Bible, Elder and everybody, and if we say, oh, they died spiritually, dying spiritually would be being spiritually separated from God. So
Right.
the Bible says, you agree with that, right?
Right.
Well, the Bible says in chapter 4, she's got a child from God. So they're right there. They're still connected.
All right, listen, man. Just listen.
They're still connected to God spiritually because she blesses the name of the Most High. She says, I have received a child from the Lord.
See?
So if she died spiritually, she wouldn't get anything from the Lord. She's getting blessings from the Lord. They're giving sacrifices in chapter 4. They're doing offerings. That means they're connected to the Most High.
Now,
Therefore,
can you admit that you are wrong, Apostle? Watch, he can't do it.
I'm not wrong. I'm
See?
not wrong.
No, it's not that I'm not trying to make him say he's wrong.
I'm not wrong.
No,
The thing is,
done.
that even now, there's a sense of separation. The only connection I have to God is through Christ. And without the connection, I have no connection to God.
Okay. And
without
I was
that connection through Christ, I have no connection to God.
So
all right.
what
And,
you're saying,
and
Apostle,
I was
is
going to
that,
finish. Just let me
Christ
finish.
Christ wasn't born when Adam and Eve was there, so they couldn't use that Christ connection BS.
Christ
Even if they say
was
that,
slain
oh my God, you got him
before the
talking to me.
foundation
Even I wanted to say
of
something.
the world. Christ was slain in Genesis 1.
Okay.
You can see evidence of Christ being slain in Genesis 1:1 in the word Bereshit.
All right. Well, if you say that we were only connected through God through Christ, Christ was a sacrifice. In the Bible, in Genesis, they do. I'm going to go back to the Bible. We said we're using the Bible. We're eisegeting right now, all of us. If we look at the actual text, there is no separation from God. So they didn't die spiritually. In the actual text, in chapter 4, it says, I've gotten a child from the God, and it says, if you do good, like he's talking to Cain, she's talking to Cain, to be honest. They're talking to Cain saying, if you do good, then like Abel, who does blood sacrifice to God, then you'll be fine. So there's no disconnection from God. They didn't die spiritually. And that's what the text says. The text says that. Can you address that?
Yes, I can address that. Because of the sacrifice, which is a type and shadow of Christ, who is our true connection. Those sacrifices points to Christ. That is the connection. That's why they're doing the sacrifice, to restore the connection that was lost.
What was the sacrifice?
That got them kicked out of the garden. That's why there was no sacrifice in the garden, except for what God did to clothe.
There was a sacrifice in the garden. That's why they had animals' clothing on. They killed an animal. They had on the clothing of animals.
They did not. They had on leaf.
No, when they left, it says they had.
The Most High did that. The Most High covered.
No, but Apostle, let me just get a word in.
I'm
Please.
just saying the Most High did that.
No. You said there was no sacrifice. They did kill an animal.
They did not kill an animal. Adam and Eve did not kill an animal in the garden.
Then how did they get the animal's skins on their body?
The Most High gave it to them. He clothed them because he
I'll
found.
let Rod handle this.
Wait, Apostle. Apostle, wait. The books say clearly, who told you you was naked? Because they had put something on. They covered themselves. Who told you you was naked? So God didn't even know that they had been told they was naked. Come on now.
They covered themselves with leaves, and it did not cover them.
The next question, sir.
Yeah.
Got a question for you.
You muted, sir.
Stop muting me, sir.
All right. Yeah, I'm muting you because you can't be quiet when somebody asking a question. So I'm asking you a question now.
Trying to answer.
All right. Don't answer. We moving on. Does God have partners or do God work alone, Apostle? The God of the Bible, of the Hebrew, of the Israelites. Apostle?